Welcome, welcome, welcome. Whether you are sitting in the audience live at the Avalon or joining us virtually, we are so glad you are here with us for the 2021 Greater Colorado Pitch Series. My name is Lexi Van Rokel, and I am delighted to be your host. Let's talk about what it takes to put on an event like this. It takes a lot of time, a lot of love, and a lot of money. And we couldn't have done it without our sponsors. We appreciate their generosity in funding this event, and we'd like to start off by giving a big shout out to our sponsors. Take a look at all the folks who support this growing event and rural entrepreneurial community. This event also requires founders, funders, and people like you and me, people to celebrate this growing community, people to root for their local companies, and people who are passionate about building momentum and opportunity in rural Colorado. Speaking of building momentum, we are stoked to partner with West Slope Startup Week to elevate the rural Colorado entrepreneurial community. This past week was packed full of presentations, panels, workshops, social events, and more, all crafted by locals. Let's hear it from all of you in the crowd who attended or contributed to West Slope Startup Week 2021. Our event today wouldn't be possible without the team from Established. This is the second year that Established worked behind the scenes to help us produce the Greater Colorado Pitch Series. We are so grateful for their support.
Established is a consultancy that helps organizations with their innovation, startup, and communication strategies. We act as a force multiplier, giving our clients the ability to go above and beyond to accomplish greater goals than they would alone. Our mission is to, wherever and whenever possible, discover, promote, foster, connect, build, and/or fund innovation that can change the world for the better. We help companies, organizations, and cities to develop, create, and execute successful strategies. The team at Established has been working in the startup ecosystem and innovation space for almost 2 decades. One of the things that has put Established on the map is our ecosystem strategy and the events and experiences associated with helping clients bolster their ecosystem exposure. Some of the various methods by which we provide exposure are our podcasts, virtual events, blogs, social media strategy and execution, and our daily Dealflow newsletter, which continues to grow and currently reaches over 74,000 recipients. Established also produces and promotes events on behalf of our partners and clients. Additionally, one of the programs we've been working on the longest is our Startup of the Year program, a year-long program that searches the country for a geographically diverse set of startups from all backgrounds, pulling them together to compete for the title of Startup of the Year. The program includes a number of in-person and virtual events, including our annual South by Southwest Startup Pitch event and competition, all of which culminate at our annual Startup of the Year Summit, where the Startup of the Year winner is announced, along with an opportunity at potential investment through our investment arm called Established Ventures. Much of our work, though, is helping to provide startups with a connective tissue to help them be successful. We partner with investors and other organizations in ecosystems around the country, and in doing so, provide opportunities to startups with those various partners. Established also works with clients on branding, communication strategy, digital agency services and development, and more. With some of our clients, such as AFWorks and the NASA iTech program, we assist with research and development by fostering ecosystem connections, communication strategies, and startup sourcing to engage the startup community and solve some of the problems facing their organizations. So Established is here to help you find and source innovations that will help you meet your goals faster. Connect with us today to learn more.
How exciting is it to be a part of this growing community? What's even more exciting are the 8 pitches you will soon watch. Last year, the Greater Colorado Pitch Series invited companies from across rural Colorado to apply for investment. Leading up to the event, almost 100 companies applied. 7 were chosen as finalists and 2 were deemed as pitch event winners. This year, we've done it again. But this year, we've leveled up. We put the word out to funders across Colorado and found additional capital partners to help us reach a greater number and variety of rural Colorado companies. Last year, we had 2 capital tracks. This year, we have 4. This opens up funding opportunities to accelerate growth for an even greater number of companies. We've also added measures to elevate inclusivity and equal opportunity for funding, which is why each capital track utilized a selection committee composed of investment professionals with diverse backgrounds to help direct investment decisions. A big thank you to the selection committees. I was a member of the Greater Colorado Venture Fund's selection committee, and I know we spent countless hours poring over applications, interviewing finalists, and meeting with our capital partners to discuss final opportunities. It was great working with such a dedicated team to create an inclusive capital ecosystem. Well, that brings us to now, the time we've all been waiting for, the semifinalist pitches. It's been fascinating to see all the brilliant companies coming out of rural Colorado. I found them very inspiring, and I hope you will too. Now, let's hear from this year's Capital Tracks and watch the pitch videos.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christina DeVito. I'm a partner with the Fund Rockies, and I'm based here in Denver, Colorado. The Fund Rockies is part of a larger community known as the Fund, with investment committees and committed funds in 6 regions globally, including here in the Rockies. We are pre-seed and seed stage investor, and we invest in tech and tech-enabled businesses across a variety of industries. And we also look for companies that want to do better and leave the world in a better place for tomorrow. We invest $50K as a first check into either a price or unpriced round with the ability to follow on in later rounds. The Fund Rockies launched at the end of 2020, and we have invested in 8 companies in the Rockies region so far, with more underway. We have 4 partners on our investment committee, 2 based here in Denver, myself and Judy Zhu, and 2 based in Boulder, David Mandel and Ari Newman. We all have been entrepreneurs, startup operators, and investors during our careers, and we all share a passion for doing our part in helping to build the startup ecosystem in the Rockies region we call home. We're particularly excited to be part of this pitch series and supporting businesses across our state. We've heard from so many of you, and we thank you for sharing your ideas and businesses with us and for thinking of us as a partner in your journey. We wish you all the very best in building something great, and we'll be cheering you on. Thanks so much.
In the last year, COVID-19 has laid bare many problems that exist globally. My focus has been on one particular issue: food insecurity. Globally, almost 1 in 9 is now food insecure. In US, over 50 million people are food insecure. And in Native American lands, the focus of ConeBeet, all federally recognized nations are deemed food deserts. I am Sanjay Rajan, founder of ConeBeet. At ConeBeet, we're building a network of community microfarms on Native American lands, growing nutrient-dense traditional foods so that community members can become social, cultural entrepreneurs. This makes them in charge of their own food security. Very appropriate is the name ConeBeet, a Creole word with origins in West Africa that means coming together for public commons and community good. I just got back from Nespelem in the state of Washington, site of our pilot. This is the land of the Confederated Colwell tribes, home to 12 bands of the Colwell people. As you can see, it's really barren land. My colleagues are taking measurements to set up a microfarm. We want to convert it into a food forest, growing traditional food crops and regenerate the soil in the process. So what do the social cultural entrepreneurs who will be the microfarm managers get from ConeBeet? They will get snap-to-grow geodesic structures with all the inputs to grow healthy, nutrient-dense foods locally. We also provide smart farming, including exciting carbon sequestration technology. Soil is the most cost-effective way to store carbon. This enables getting carbon credits and lets us take climate action as well. With every microfarm, ConeBeet can create one social entrepreneur who can potentially generate 6 jobs, who can feed 100 people nutrient-dense foods. Simply put, ConeBeet is about designing for resiliency of the individual, the community, and the landscape. Here's the gist of the detailed market analysis. Beachhead market is Native American lands, as I said. Second jurisdiction is urban food deserts, especially in BIPOC communities. We have an eclectic mix of smart team members and advisors to drive change in our food systems and further ConeBeet. Since launch in July 2020, we have had amazing traction. Highlighting 4, a USDA SBIR Phase 1 grant, in process of inking a 3-year partnership with NREL to further agrivoltaics, a partnership with Office of Indigenous Innovation, University of Hawaii, and a partnership with Fort Lewis College to have Native American students intern with ConeBeet, perhaps even become our employees and brand ambassadors. We have audacious goals. We want to get to 1,000 different sites by end of year 5. We forecast revenue growth to 25 million. We also have a rainy day fund, as you never know when, where, how the next pandemic might be. The United Nations says there's global COVID-19 pandemic and hunger pandemic as well that will worsen in 2021 and beyond. We want to alleviate this pandemic of hunger now and into the future. Many of the tribal elders we work with say food is spirituality. At ConeBeet, we believe that as well. Let's restore food sovereignty and equity in our Native American lands. Lem limt, thank you, as they say in the Salish language.
Hi, I'm Sarah, CEO and co-founder of Barn Owl Drone Services, a drone and robotics service provider focused on farmers. As a kid, one of my favorite things was going to the farm, picking my own fruits and veggies, and then enjoying a family meal out of that real food. As an adult, I am worried that the next generations of families won't get to experience that same feeling because today, our farmers are struggling with weeds, bugs, and weather, and if we don't make some changes and provide support, they won't be able to grow our food. But that's where we come in. Barn Owl provides drone and robotic services for farmers so they can reduce inputs, increase yields, and implement regenerative farming practices. This all helps secure our food supply and allows our farmers to actually love the job. Our drone systems provide field analysis, which allows us to support operations using autonomous weeding robots and our AI crop alerts. This creates those much needed and financial resource savings that truly bring benefit to the industry. Our services are perfect for specialty crop farmers with 100 to 600 acres. We also have systems to support commodity crop farmers but take a different approach using the same equipment. We have an advantage over our competitors because we provide our farmers the total package. Our robots with our AI allow stress-free addition to the farms and builds local farm networks. Our approach creates high-tech jobs in rural areas, which also works to expand our acres. We manufacture using 3D printing and other machinery, which allows us to manage our own supply chain and scale as needed. And our data will be used to create cleaner, more productive farming, making Colorado the leader and the model for the future. Currently, we provide service to farmers in Colorado and Kansas. We work directly with the local farms to figure out what will actually create value, and we work with many of the CSU Ag Extension offices and other partners for testing and development. To really solidify our place in the market, this year we are focusing on deploying our robotics fleet and working with 2 separate farms to show savings and bushel increase worth more than $160,000 combined. These 3 focuses will allow us to secure more than 3,000 service acres for 2022, resulting in projected revenues of $1.3 million or more. From here, we scale our service teams and our fleets to reach more than $8 million by 2024. Overall margins will continue to improve through automation, and our robotics fleet show a second-year margin of more than 74%. Our team is perfect for creating Barn Owl success because we understand our farmers. They trust us, work with us, and want to grow with us. We will hire a full-stack developer and an engineer to help us build on our progress and our momentum. This raise will create more than 55 rural tech jobs in Colorado, more than $8 million in revenues, and help us implement sustainable farming statewide. And it's just the beginning. With our farmers by our side, we will save the world by securing our food supply and reducing our harmful carbon impact, because we want the joy that we feel on farms to continue for many generations. Thank you.
We're excited to have Zoma Capital as a supporter of this year's Greater Colorado Pitch Series. Not only has Zoma helped us to make today's event possible, but they've been an active champion and partner for the Greater Colorado Venture Fund and numerous other programs to support the future of entrepreneurship in rural Colorado. We are so lucky to have them.
Hi everyone, I'm Cass Walker, Executive Director at First Southwest Community Fund. We're a 501c3 nonprofit and we're the nonprofit partner of First Southwest Bank, one of the two CDFI banks in Colorado. We provide access to capital in rural Colorado through low interest and accessible debt, grants, and education. Generally, our loans are up to $250,000 and we invest in startups, small businesses, and nonprofits at all stages across industries. In 2020 alone, we invested close to $7 million into rural Colorado businesses. A big shout out to our selection committee here for this initiative, Sherry Weiner, Chief Development Officer of First Southwest Bank, Mike Roque, the Executive Director of Community Foundation of the San Luis Valley, and myself. We are excited to be a capital partners.
Hello everyone, I'm Bernadine Perez with Colorado Sublimation Printing. We are currently based in La Junta, Colorado, but my husband and I were both born in Rocky Ford, Colorado, which is just a few miles down the road. We are a small town business with big city dreams of running our own manufacturing facility. We specialize in dye sublimation printing as well as latex printing. With that being said, let me tell you a little bit about what dye sublimation is. It is a dye process that requires high heat temperatures of 385 to 400 degrees. It then permanently bonds to our products such as glass, wood, aluminum, and slate, as well as fabrics. With sublimation, there are no worries of cracking, peeling, or fading, which is perfect for the sports apparel industry. Our goal is to get into manufacturing our own sports apparel such as wrestling singlets and offering sports packages for schools and private teams. We are currently working with CSE Fort Collins, and they will be coming down to our storefront to properly train us on how to cut and sew our singlets, as well as get our patterns digitized. We chose wrestling singlets because it's the most cost-efficient based on material used and final retail cost. With the equipment we have set up now, we can produce up to 5 singlets a day per employee. As we get started in our journey perfecting our sewing skills, we plan to hire more sewers. Our competition is other sports apparel companies in the Denver and Colorado Springs area. Most require a 500-piece minimum order, and that does not work well with our small towns. Currently, there is no one else in rural Colorado doing sublimation, so that is our advantage of making our big city dreams come true. There will be no job too big or too small for us to take on. Our projected income is averaging around $3,500 a month. By fall of 2021, we project to be making around $5,000 a month once we add our embroidery. As my team gets proficient with our sewing skills, we can add full custom packages. Our projected rate will be then $11,500 monthly by winter. As we start hiring, our projected income will then increase to about $15,500 by the summer of 2022. My team consists of 3 employees, my husband Cisco, who is my right-hand man, 1 other employee, Darlene, and myself. As we get proficient with our sewing skills, we have big plans to bring more jobs to our current town. If we are funded, our plan is to pay off our current revolving loan and purchase an embroidery machine. That will give us the opportunity to create our own sports apparel packages, which most schools want. With that being said, we believe this will give us the chance to put rural Colorado on the map in the sports apparel industry and add much needed jobs to our area. Thank you for your time, and we hope you give us the opportunity to make our dreams come true. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Georgia Grace Edwards. I'm an economic consultant, former Fulbright Fellow, and a founder and the CEO of SheFly Apparel. SheFly is a layerable line of outdoor pants for women that allow us to safely, comfortably, and easily relieve ourselves in the outdoors without exposing skin to the elements or other people. On this day, exactly 5 years ago, I was working as a glacier guide in Alaska, spending anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day up on the ice. And in comparison to the male guides whose flies allowed them to turn around, unzip, and go whenever, wherever, I found myself having to trek across the glacier, carefully avoiding crevasses, completely remove 3 to 4 layers in freezing temperatures, do my thing, put it all back on, and hike back to work. Which, as you might imagine, was a huge waste of time, a huge waste of energy, and something that often left me feeling cold for hours after, to the point where I started dehydrating myself. This is because pants have traditionally been designed for men and have yet to be properly adapted for women. which is where SheFly comes in. SheFlies feature a second patented zipper that extends all the way to the back of the pant so that the user can control the size and location of the space they need to create while answering nature's call. But in designing these pants, we didn't just want to solve the bathroom problem. We wanted to solve for all the other pain points commonly mentioned among female adventurers. So we have an adjustable harness-compatible waist, 5 huge pockets, and a durable fabric that will hold up whether you're summiting multiple peaks in a day or taking your dog for a walk in the rain. SheFlies have been used not just by women who are recreating outside, but also women who are working outside, like Krista. She's a bridge inspector who is now saving an hour a day on the job because she no longer has to spend time or effort removing important safety equipment on the job, which has also increased her confidence. As a first-to-market product, our main competitors have been female urination devices, or FUDs, which are essentially rubber representations of male genitalia you can carry around with you on your backpack. But at SheFly, we believe the problem with answering nature's call is not our anatomy, it's our clothing. So that's where we started. My co-founder is Charlotte Massey. She's a digital marketing whiz and an expert on mountaineering gender dynamics across the world. She's put SheFlies to the test on some of the globe's tallest peaks in more than a dozen countries. We also have a team of dedicated mentors who are skilled in startup operations, large outdoor retail, and direct-to-consumer products, especially for women and especially taboo. We also have a team of women who keep our day-to-day SheFly operations going, and that's how we've taken our product from our dorm room floors to direct-to-consumer online on our website. In spring 2022, we'll be launching in Moose Jaw stores, expanding into retail, and with new patents approved, we're hoping to get this technology into every pair of pants imaginable. The outdoor recreation market is where we're focusing most, and it's now larger than coal, oil, and gas combined. Women have more buying market power and more participation in this industry than ever before, which, coupled with the fact that discussions of inclusivity and access are dominating the industry, means it's a great time to be entering the market. We've already seen quite a bit of traction, selling over 600 pairs of pants before our factory was shut down under COVID, amassing a waitlist of 5,000 people in the meantime. We more than tripled our crowdfunding campaign and are patented in 30 different countries, with quite a few pitch competitions and accelerators under our belts. This $50,000 will help us focus on manufacturing, marketing, and hiring. This next production run we place next month is more than 5 times what we originally anticipated due to the increase in demand, and we need additional capital to place that order and to market the additional units. We just moved our headquarters to Gunnison, Colorado, and are excited about the opportunity to create jobs in this new community. We hope you will help us help women everywhere go on the go. Thank you.
The Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade, or OEDIT, is an amazing ally in supporting startups and small businesses in Colorado. Up next, we have a special message from Colorado's Governor, Jared Polis, to tell us a little bit more about OEDIT.
Hi, I'm Governor Jared Polis. The mission of the Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade, or OEDIT as we call it, is to create an inclusive business climate that fosters dynamic economic development and good job growth. OEDIT employees are here to help. By supporting you and your small business, we drive our economy forward together to help everybody thrive. And what a tremendous amount of support we have. OEDIT has 12 divisions that support diverse industries, regions, and sectors, and businesses at all stages. They include Colorado Creative Industries, Advanced Industries, the Minority Business Office, Small Business Development Center Network, business funding incentives, and so many more. I encourage you to reach out to the rural opportunity representative supporting your area who could connect you to OEDIT division and resources that can help. I'm proud to call the state of Colorado, through the Venture Capital Authority, a limited partner in the Greater Colorado Venture Capital Fund. Our programs include equity and debt support through capital. If we run through all of OEDIT's 180 programs, it could take a long time, but just know that there's something that fits for you. And I invite you to visit oedit.colorado.gov to see a full list of programs available to help you and your business. That's also where you'll find information on the rural opportunity representatives. Thank you for everything you do to build back a stronger, more prosperous Colorado and power a more resilient economy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Nager with the Greater Colorado Venture Fund, and we're on a mission to prove out venture capital in rural America. GCVF, as we call it, is a $17.5 million seed stage fund focused on companies in rural Colorado. We've invested almost $8 million into 23 companies in the past 3 years, and my two partners, Corey, Jamie, and I have collectively spent hundreds of nights across the state building relationships and working with founders just like you. We're excited to host the next generation of the Pitch Series this year to showcase companies and funders across the spectrum. Special shout out to Andrea Spirito, Nicole Glaros, and Lexi Van Rokel for driving our selection committee and process this year. And as made even more evident in the massive cultural and work shifts in the past year with COVID, we believe that great founders can build companies outside of urban centers, and that Colorado especially is one of the best places in the world to be starting and growing a business right now. More fundamentally, we believe that entrepreneurship is one of the most powerful forces driving systemic and long-term economic sustainability in rural communities, which really leads to high-paying jobs that are part of tomorrow's economy. Lastly, a true and genuine thank you for the founders who spent time, applied. We know how much effort that takes, and hopefully it was a valuable process to you. And even if you're not selected in this, we hope this is the start of a relationship and an opportunity to help drive all of you to your goals. Another thank you to our track partners and our sponsors for believing in our crazy experiment to showcase the different capital tracks this year.
Have you ever been killing time watching videos on your phone and wondered, gee, how do all these amazing videos get delivered to my mobile device? Of course not. We just want our favorite video content to keep coming, along with streaming movies, YouTube, and all that fat content we love to consume on our mobile devices. But someone does care how it gets delivered. The 175 mobile operators and over 1,500 internet service providers on Satcom. They bring all that content across the last mile of the mobile network to tens of millions of mobile devices every second of every day. Collectively in the US, their data bill is $24 billion annually and growing. And you thought your data bill was bad. Our insatiable demand for fat content is killing them, and with more bandwidth like 5G and low Earth orbit satellite coming online, it's going to be a nightmare for these operators' bottom line. This is about to change. Our product, Cora, takes fat content and turns it into skinny data by right-sizing the content for the mobile device. This patent-pending background application can save operators hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, making them more competitive and profitable. In the past, people have tried to solve the problem on the network. This is very expensive, time-consuming, and doesn't really create significant data savings. Cora works on the device, not the network, so deployment is simple. Cora is deployed onto devices via the operator's existing mobile app. It goes to work quietly in the background and shapes video content to fit the size of the device. So, instead of delivering enough data to light up a 55-inch ultra-high-def TV, we are only delivering enough data to enjoy video on a 5.5-inch screen. This results in data savings of 35 to 70%. Fat content just got a lot skinnier. Cora has been through user acceptance testing, 2 customer pilots, and we have our first letter of intent from an actual customer. We will have recurring monthly revenue and ancillary revenue streams as well, giving us a strong financial forecast. Obtaining funding will allow us to ramp up the marketing efforts, hire the right talent, and develop scalable customer deployments to ensure stickiness and support commercial operations. We are a seasoned team of startup veterans with decades of experience and a track record of developing patentable technology, taking businesses to market, and seeing them through to exit. And speaking of exits, we are positioning SkyPeak Technologies for rapid growth, strong valuation, and a favorable acquisition. So let's go back to watching those videos. For the first time ever, U.S. consumers will spend more time using their mobile devices than watching TV, which makes right-sizing content more crucial for operators now and in the future. Cora shapes fat content into skinny data by delivering right-sized content for your phone. And that means mobile operators have a better way to bring you data. They are saving tons of money and can bring their subscribers more competitive plans. And that means everyone wins. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dan Greer with Eclipse DOT, and we take the complexity out of compliance. I was born and raised in Southwest Colorado. I've been married for 16 years, and my wife and I are blessed to be able to raise our 4 children on the same property my great-grandfather homesteaded in 1902. You should also know I started driving trucks when I turned 19, and I've spent the rest of my life trying to get away from them. What is Eclipse DOT? We're more than a consulting company. We're a platform that allows companies to be 100% compliant with transportation regulation. This allows them to focus on their business, and they sleep better at night knowing we have their driver and vehicle compliance handled. Earlier this year, we were approached by a large contractor to help get their DOT compliance back into shape. When we first started talking to them, they were less than 10% compliant, even though they were already using the biggest compliance company in the US. So we took them from under 10% to over 95% in less than 35 days. That's when we decided we needed to build our software platform now. Here it is, our interactive dashboard. We've simplified the process, chunked it down into bite-sized pieces. We like to call it the TurboTax of the transportation world. With this tool, compliance is now so simple that even a truck driver could do it. Our platform takes the need to have an in-house expert out of the equation to be a successful transportation company. We didn't stop there, though. We also offer custom forms, training both live and on demand, and so much more. We have less than 100 competitors nationwide, and only 10 of those have their own software. How is ours different? Well, ours not only notifies the company when a driver's out of compliance, it notifies the driver, the manager, and the company. Then any one of those guys can update the forms quickly and easily from their phone. Ryan with A&L Coors in Durango says, I see Eclipse DOT as a business partner, one that looks out for and helps us increase efficiency, reduce costs, and overall run a tighter operation. Thanks, Ryan. Personally, I've worked in every position from labor all the way up to being part of the fleet management team for the largest non-union contractor in the U.S. Jenna has a background in business, and she's massively organized. Haley takes care of everything tech for us. Last year, our industry reached $791 billion in annual revenue. In the United States alone, there are over 1.7 million carriers, over 8.1 million commercial drivers, and over 7.3 million commercial vehicles. That means that 13.4% of all vehicles on the road are commercial trucks. Also, our industry is going to need to hire about 1.1 million new drivers just to keep up with demand. Our first full year in business, we served over 2,500 clients, and we're on track to over double that this year. Our software allows our company unlimited scalability. You can see that our team is aggressively seeking new opportunities to expand and scale. How are we going to spend the money? By attending more events and hiring a sales team, and that allows us to make more relationships throughout the industry. Here at Eclipse DOT, we're more than compliance gurus. We're industry experts. Our team helps your team ensure that you're operating at peak efficiency, which means you can lay more rubber on the road and know that your team is in good hands. Eclipse DOT, taking the complexity out of compliance.
We'd like to take a moment to thank one of our title sponsors, the Colorado Impact Fund. For the second year in a row, they stepped up to support this event in a major way. Thank you for supporting the Greater Colorado Pitch Series and Rural Colorado.
I'm Grace Oliva, and I'm with the Colorado Impact Fund, a proud sponsor of the Greater Colorado Pitch Series. The Colorado Impact Fund, or CIF, is a Denver-based venture capital firm investing in Colorado companies with high growth, scalable business models, and a commitment to make their communities better. CIF was created to support the growing startup and impact ecosystem throughout the state of Colorado. We launched in 2014 and have invested in 14 Colorado companies. We support Greater Colorado Pitch Series because it brings more funding and other critical business resources to rural Colorado companies. Economic growth in rural Colorado is one of CIF's impact goals and initiatives. Partnering with the Greater Colorado Venture to support increased funding to rural Colorado was a no-brainer from the start. We're very excited to get to know these 8 startups and to hear from the 4 winners and their founders.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andy Walver with Greenline Ventures, which is a national impact investor and community development lender based in Denver. We are an investor in all stages of business life cycle, from equity for early stage businesses to first and subordinate lien loans for more mature small and medium businesses. We're proud to be involved in the pitch series this year. One of the things that we have realized over the course of the past 4 or 5 years is that businesses located in the Front Range of Colorado are fully covered by both banks and venture capital firms. And businesses located in the Western Slope and more rural regions of Colorado are the ones that have difficulty generating interest and developing relationships with those firms. Over the years, we've made a variety of loans and equity investments to Western Slope businesses, and see that our participation in the pitch series as being a great opportunity to enhance and encourage our activity both in Western Colorado. For this year's pitch series, Greenline is the provider of growth debt to rapidly growing existing businesses. Growth debt has always been one of the more difficult areas for founders to finance because the amounts needed are usually more than are able to be provided by friends and family or small equity investors, but it's not quite large enough to get the attention of bigger banks who want to provide highly collateralized debt products. We have a history of making many of these loans in the Western Slope. We received quite a few impressive applications for the product this year. Our finalists this year are Agile Aerospace, a Durango-based rocket and aerospace engineering and manufacturing firm, and Western Rise, a Telluride-based performance designer of athletic apparel. We look forward to working with these companies going forward, and thank everyone for their involvement this year.
You've already met Greenline Ventures as a capital partner for today's event, but did you know they're also a sponsor for the event's operational budget, or that they funded one of last year's Greater Colorado Pitch Series finalists? We're extremely thankful for Greenline's devotion to the future of rural Colorado.
My name is Jeff Max, and I'm the Chairman and CEO of Agile Space Industries. Agile is a leading provider of propulsion systems for lunar landers and other spacecraft. We design, test, qualify, and manufacture these systems for defense, civil, and commercial customers from our headquarters and test site in Durango, Colorado, and our manufacturing facility outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. For over a decade, Agile has been delivering propulsion test services to customers in the Department of Defense, Missile Defense Agency, NASA, and a half dozen of the world's largest aerospace and defense prime contractors. We were recently selected to provide the attitude control system for a NASA lunar mission that will land a rover near the south pole of the moon in 2023 and search for water ice. We were selected for this mission because our thrusters, the critical component of the lander's attitude control system, offered superior performance, could be delivered far faster and less expensively than those of any other provider. We're able to deliver these disruptive performance, timeline, and cost efficiencies through a convergence of competencies we refer to as our superpower: innovative designs and geometries, the use of additive in-house manufacturing, and industry-leading in-house test capabilities. Our rapid design-build-test iteration cycle is unique in the industry and has allowed Agile to define and own an entirely new category in aerospace propulsion. We are able to outperform our competitors, offering prices 20 to 30% below legacy alternatives, and do so with margins in excess of 300%. The new space century is only now beginning, and Agile has already established itself as a go-to provider for some of the largest and most capable aerospace operators. Our reputation, bona fides, and capabilities are table stakes to play in this market. As a serial tech entrepreneur with exits in excess of $100, $300, and $400 million over the past 25 years, I know that it's all about building a team that can execute. Our team is made up of Purdue PhDs, Harvard MBAs, MIT and Stanford grads, senior execs who received their leadership training at West Point. Engineers from SpaceX, Blue Origin, and legacy providers are joining our team because Agile is the future of propulsion, and the industry knows it. Our pipeline is significant. Current live dialogues in our pipeline with Lockheed Martin, Raytheon Missile and Defense, and Sierra Nevada Corp alone are worth over $200 million. The opportunity set and our confidence couldn't be higher. The contract dynamic in the propulsion industry ensures that each new piece of business is fundamentally self-funding. Notwithstanding, as a company in hypergrowth mode, we lean on venture funding to underwrite expansion of facilities, material procurement for R&D, attract top talent, and underwrite our significant intellectual property capture and monetization initiatives. A judicious use of non-dilutive debt can augment these undertakings. Selecting Agile in this competition is a decision to back proven leaders with proven product and traction in the earliest days of humanity's exploration of the universe.
Hello, my name is Kelly Waters, the CEO of Western Rise, a men's performance clothing company based in Telluride, Colorado. How does a woman become the CEO of a men's activewear brand, you ask? Well, it all started 12 years ago when I met my co-founder in Vail. Will was taking a break from running R&D for an industrial textiles company, and I was planning my next career steps in operations. We had the stereotypical active Colorado life. But I had an advantage. I had access to clothing that transitioned both active and social situations, allowing me to go from the trail to the office easily. Will was still limited to sports-specific clothing or office wear. He would drive around with 5 changes of clothes in his car. We realized that with his sourcing experience and my operational experience, we could actually solve this problem and do it in the mountains that we loved. Fast forward to today, Western Rise is transforming the wardrobe of the modern active man so he can own less, carry less, and experience more, whether that's traveling, spending time outdoors, or just every day. But what makes us different is more than product. Great product is table stakes. We've developed an innovative process to reinvent how apparel is brought to market. We use data to identify opportunities, rapid testing, crowdfunding, and a scaling supply chain to bring game-changing products to market faster and more sustainably. Our process ensures that each new product launched is a hero product instantly and can scale across all channels. And the world is taking notice. In the last 3 years, we've beaten brands like Arc'teryx, Mountain Hardwear, and The North Face to win some of the most coveted awards in performance clothing. Since we started Western Rise, men's activewear has become one of the fastest growing categories in apparel. The mainstream adoption of online sales has led to a new male power shopper. These men are active, tech savvy, and have a buying power of more than $48 billion annually. They seek out new brands over incumbents and spend over $1,000 on clothes. We have the right team to scale. We have over 40 years of experience in DTC commerce, and our advisors come from the most well-respected brands in the industry. Western Rise has experienced exponential growth with 141% compounded annual growth rate, a 13 times LTV to CAC ratio, and a 68% product margin. We have the unit economics to scale Western Rise into one of the largest performance apparel brands, keeping it based here in Western Colorado. My vision for Western Rise is to fundamentally and sustainably change menswear so that my son doesn't have to have 4 changes of clothing. His wardrobe will give him the freedom to say yes to more of life's adventures.
Let's hear it for our finalists. Up next, we will be going live to the Avalon Theater to meet the winners. Stay tuned and see you soon.
Awesome. Yes, sweet. Let's give everyone a round of applause. I am not Lexi. I'm pitch hitting today. She lost her voice. So thank you, everyone. This has been an amazing event so far. Before we get started introducing the winners and everything, I'm going to ask everyone to stand up and let's come a little bit closer. So asking everyone to get in the first 5 rows. We're going to do a little bit of a discussion with some of the winners. And so come on, come get closer. It's okay. We're post-COVID, so you can be friends with everyone. Great. Cool. While everyone's coming up and getting a little bit closer to the stage, my name is Brian Watson. We wanted to start off by just saying thank you so much to the sponsors. Thank you to Startup Colorado for driving all around the state, as well as covering travel costs for finalists to come. We'd also like to thank our title sponsors, Zoma Capital, Greenline Ventures, Colorado Office of Economic Development, or OEDIT, and Established as well. And then to our pitch series supporters, the Gates Family Foundation, Colorado Outdoors, and last but not least, the Avalon Theater, which allowed us to host the event here today. Before we announce the finalists, we also have our Female Founders Awards that has been sponsored by Venture Best and First Southwest Community Fund. Venture Best generously gave $2,500 in cash and, more importantly, $2,500 of in-kind legal services. That's really important when you're starting a business to make sure that you've got your first step under strong foundations, and having good legal support is really helpful for that. So thank you. And as a cherry on top, First Southwest Community Fund also chipped in another $1,000 as a cash prize to our female founders. And the best part is they didn't decide on just one, they decided on 2. Which is awesome. So a round of applause. Awesome. So to announce the winners, we have Sean from First Best to introduce this year's female founders. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Great to see the bottom half of so many faces and so many great companies that we've gotten to know through the years. So. Yeah, I'm Sean. I had Venture Best in Colorado and around the country, and we were so psyched with First Southwest Community Fund, which I think I saw some folks from there, to do this award. And we actually got 33 awesome applicants, all different types. I think it was kind of a microcosm of what you've seen, from brick and mortar, traditional, to high growth, high tech. So I was so impressed with the applicants. We decided to give 2 awards instead of 1, and hopefully we can do more. And for all those folks watching and listening, if you're on that list, we'd love to help in any way we can. So if we can be of service, reach out anytime. So without further ado, the first winner, unfortunately, Rhonda Lobato couldn't make it, but it's Lupina, which is rehabbing and recreating a building, very much brick and mortar, but to create sort of a hub in a community, which is so great. And then the second winner is Olivia Peterson with Sisteo, who is here. So if you wouldn't mind coming up, Olivia. And maybe if you don't mind, and we're supposed to go here, Corey told me. If you don't mind, maybe just tell a little bit about what Sisteo is.
Yeah. So Sisteo is the Sustainable Habits app. It helps people reduce their impact in whatever way that makes the most sense for them. So whether that's where you live in rural Colorado versus a city, or how much money you make, we have a solution for you, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Check it out. It's amazing. Well, congratulations with your snowboard injury. Yeah. Thanks so much. Of course. Looking forward to it. All right, Brian.
Thanks again, Sean. Great. So for our first winner, thank you to Venture Best and First Southwest Community Fund, again, for supporting our female founders. And now for our first winner of the pre-seed debt category, and our sorry. So our first winner was actually chosen by First Southwest Community Foundation. And as the winner, we would like to invite Georgia Grace to come up with SheFly. Thank you, congratulations. Yeah, if you want to have a seat, we'll be listening. Next, we've got the fund, and Ari is going to come up and announce the winner.
Hey everyone, really excited to be here today. We had two great companies, Barn Owl Drone Service and ConeBeet, as our finalists. One of the things I thought was really fantastic was that both companies are working on addressing food insecurity. They're both using modern technology to help society and help the world move forward. Ultimately, we selected, are you ready? ConeBeet as the winner of our category. Sanjay Rajat, please come up. Congratulations. Thanks.
Great. Next, we have Mark with Greater Colorado Venture Fund announcing their winners.
All right. So first, thank you guys for coming out and being a part of this. I know we have a ton of people tuning in online too. I think we had over 3,000 people see the video last year. And that was one of the validation points for us to say, all right, we need to figure out how to kind of continue to do this in a hybrid in-person virtual way. So again, thank you guys for coming out and being a part of that. We also saw last year, I think, $2 million at least, just so far, get invested in the winners. So being able to expand into the 4 capital tracks, there's so much more opportunity, and as you see, so much potential with these companies, and we think it's really going to help kind of unlock more capital, bring more players to the whole ecosystem. So really excited for that. This year, though, we really narrowed it down. We got to work with Daniel, and we got to work with Kat and team at SkyPeak, and I think we need a drum roll, please. Can we, a little drum roll, please? All right. Winner for the seed track is SkyPeak. Kat, please come on up. All right, we need pictures. We're good?
Great, thank you guys. And I want to make sure, next we have Pat with Greenline Ventures that's going to be coming out and talking about announcing the winners of the growth stage debt track.
Hello, everyone. I'm Patrick Vahey. I think you saw a video from, I'm president of Greenline Ventures, and I think you saw a video of one of my colleagues describing what we do, and we are fortunate to be participating in this and want to quickly thank everyone for participating, be it the founders and companies and Greater Colorado Venture Fund, Mark, Jamie, and Corey for all their efforts in putting this together, as well as all the supporters. We've very much enjoyed being part of this and seeing different companies come through this event. As you saw, we had 2 finalists, and both tremendous companies that were very interesting, high growth, but stable revenues, and ones that we had a really difficult time choosing the winner. And so happy to announce that instead of choosing one winner, we actually chose both of them, and our both of them won, so to speak, and we are very fortunate and happy to be moving forward with both Agile and Western Rise. So I'll first, I'll first introduce Kelly Waters of Western Rise. And then next we have Jeff Max of Agile Space Technologies.
Awesome. Well, let's give everyone a huge round of applause. First off, congratulations to all of our winners. It's amazing to see just the incredible companies that are coming out of the western slope of Colorado. We've got rocket ship companies, we've got incredible outdoor clothing companies, and so much more. So we are going to have a quick fireside chat with each of our founders and winners, so founders and funders, to help kind of talk about the experience of this and help demystify some of the questions that people may have about funding and how to gain that, as well as, you know, the benefit that this is going to provide for your company. And so first, but not least, question for Ari with the fund. What made not a good fit for the fund?
What made ConeBeet a good fit?
Yeah, what made ConeBeet?
How much time do I have?
3 minutes. It's quick.
It's ConeBeet.
ConeBeet.
Even though it says ConeBeet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's ConeBeet. That took me a couple of What really impressed us about ConeBeet was the approach to like one of the world's largest problems that we have. Food insecurity affects millions of people every day. It's a global problem. We have tons of land on this planet, and so much of it is inhospitable to grow food, and it takes a lot of time, energy, water, and innovation to do it. ConeBeet has worked really hard to come up with a scalable, modular platform that can rapidly expand to solve food insecurity while also bringing not only food but income into underserved communities. And you know, with a lot of startups, they try to do everything at once. ConeBeet also impressed us with their focus on working with tribal lands. So they are very focused on working with a particular community and understanding the needs of the community and how to engage them in a way that will affect real outcomes. The company's done a great job being thoughtful in their early days, and we're really excited to back them.
Cool. Thank you. Sanjay, a question for you. First off, congratulations on winning.
Thanks.
And congratulations on all your success. It was fun to see your slides of all the partnerships that you've been able to develop. How do you plan on using these funds moving forward?
Great question. How many minutes? 3?
3 minutes, yeah.
So as Ari was saying, we are really building an ecosystem for change. And one of the best ways to impact the world is through entrepreneurship, as we all know. And what we want to do with the money is essentially use this as a leverage to be able to build out the team so that we can get to 100 farms as quickly as possible in year 1. That means building a network of social entrepreneurs, social cultural entrepreneurs in year 1 of our operations. And yeah, this is going to be very critical for us. And also, as you talked about partnerships, evolving the partnerships. Building those relationships are super, super critical. One of the other things we're going to look to is, while being very focused, also talk to people in First Nations in Canada, as well as indigenous people in Mexico. Our CEO has deep connections into Mexico, so that's one thing we want to explore as well. But again, we want to stay focused on indigenous nations in terms of what we're trying to do. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much. And as all these companies talk about their growth, all of us are Western Slope companies, so we all have to support each other, right, and spread the word when we're hearing about that. Mark, this next question is for you. What were some of the things you were thinking of when you selected SkyPeak Technologies?
Oh, man. I think one of the greatest parts of our job is we are not domain experts and we don't have any sector focus, but we get to learn about so many different opportunities and problems out there. And as we kind of dug in, understanding, you know, that there's about 1,500 MNOs, lots of acronyms we get to learn as well. Mobile network operators that are serving truly rural parts of the country, and understanding the actual data usage problems and the costs that are associated with those, and how it can actually prevent access to basic things like cell phone service, right? And being able to consume real data, and understanding the value of seeing, you know, we talked to one of their customers up in Dutch Harbor who's working on expanding across the entire state of Alaska, and explaining how they get excited because one of the fishing boat captains can be on a video call and using their service, instead of having 30 minutes normally with the data allocation that they have for 25 bucks a gigabyte, they can now have like a 3-hour call with their family, right? And so being able to make it really tangible in something like that was what helped us get excited. And then we also think about the international applications of this too, as the company continues to grow.
Cool, thank you. Kat, congratulations. It's amazing. It was really cool to see everything that you're doing and just an innovative solution to a problem that so many people are dealing with in rural Colorado and throughout the world. How is this funding going to help you take over the industry and really go to the next level?
Well, it definitely gives us the ability to go to market, right, which is such an important thing. We have been setting in our office, having calls all around the world and talking to people. We mentioned Dutch Harbor, but there's, even Dallas, Texas has this problem. Hays, Kansas has this problem. It's definitely something that's global, and being able to have the funding we need to put the right people in place and go out there and start having these conversations and put the technology actually on phones and start saving data, right-sizing content for the mobile device is going to be amazing. And being able to do it from Fruita, Colorado's even, it's like, wow, pinch me, this can hardly be real. We were setting, my co-founder and I, Don, were sitting in the office in Boulder, and we'd gotten off calls with India, with Dutch Harbor, with Hays, Kansas, and we're sitting there going, we can do this. We can take over the world from anywhere. Why not do it in Fruita, Colorado, where we really want to be? So we're really grateful to be here and be part of the Western Slope community where the rivers run the right direction, and just really, really grateful. Thank you very much.
I like that.
Awesome, thank you so much. This next question is for Pat. You guys are investing $1 million into companies, which is a lot of money. The question is, how do you know when a company is ready to receive that much money? So we've talked about the different stages, and there's different amounts of money that these different companies have won. So how do you know when a company is ready to take on larger amounts of capital?
Sure. Question, and before I answer that, congratulate Kat on the company, and it's really impressive, and I'm curious if you got the idea in any way from the television show Silicon Valley at HBO, because it seems like Kelly and I were just it seems, Pied Piper, like remarkably similar. It's almost too good to be true that you're able to do that, but presumably you had this idea
we're going to have
before.
a television show next, so just stay tuned. Yeah.
It's just remarkably similar. But to answer the question, there's a lot of factors that go into determining whether a company's in a position to take on debt, and there are various stages at which it can be done. And that's part of the challenge, and I think part of the opportunity is that traditional banks have a hard time underwriting companies that are in the phase that we're focusing on here, because they may not have physical assets or collateral. It's kind of a high-touch underwriting where you really have to get comfortable with the management team, their product, their services, and their ability to sustain and support debt. We don't want to be in a position where we're having to foreclose or exercise remedies, and we want to see a company that's well capitalized enough to support it. And if equity is a better solution, we want to encourage them to focus on that. Like, we don't want to push debt on a company that's not in a position to do so. But fortunately, with the companies we have here between Western Rise and Agile, they're both well capitalized, have strong track records. Western Rise has been growing consistently and has a good investor base and is certainly in a position. I mean, they've received debt to date, and and like between their management and their products, like you saw in the video that Kelly put together, it's extraordinarily well received in the market. They've continued to grow throughout the COVID era, and a combination of balance sheet, financials, management team, product gives us comfort in a company like that. And with Jeff and Agile, it's a similar situation. They've got I don't know if it's legacy business is the right word, but they've got a long track record of providing testing services for their various companies in their thrusters and propulsion technologies, and now they're in a position to start developing some of their own technologies. And with that cushion of having the the testing income and revenue and team in place, and obviously, I mean, as you can see, Jeff's assembled a really impressive group of people. So we're underwriting all aspects of that, but their management team, their their history in some ways, but more so their projections going forward. We have some level of collateral, but and I think it's actually going to be close to $2 or over $2 million of debt that we end up hopefully providing them. And yeah. So, and they're also in the process of doing another round of equity, so that's helpful for us. And we want to see we're not traditional venture debt lenders that just underwrite a sponsor and a VC firm. So they that next round will be helpful in supporting the debt as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
This next question is for Jeff. And first off, congratulations, and just it's so badass to see everything that you guys are doing here on Western Slope. So
it's pretty cool stuff.
It is really cool stuff. So one observation, and I have a similar question for Kelly too, is you're accepting money from Greenline Ventures, but you've also worked with GCVF in the past. And so this observation for companies is a lot of times people think like, if I just get that one amount of money, then everything's solved, right? How are you planning on using this new tranche of funding differently than some of the stuff that you've worked on in the past?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we tend to want to leverage. Well, we're a company in a really hyper growth phase. I would say a little over 2 years ago, there were 4 people in the company. There are 40 in the company today. We expect that to probably double in the next 12 months again. The support that we've gotten from GCVF in particular in our seed round and our pre-seed round was really just terrific, and it allowed us to really attract the kind of talent and begin to build out the team that is really driving the growth and the stability and the scalability of the business. We're looking to leverage this debt capital really for the expansion of infrastructure, equipment, machinery, that kind of stuff. Our 3D printers use very sophisticated laser technology to do 3D printing with exotic metal alloys, and these machines cost anywhere from $200,000 to $800,000 a piece. So that's not cheap equipment, and as somebody said earlier, it's very, very difficult to get community banks and even commercial banks to underwrite a business which is in the growth stage that we are. We really lean on equity investment for continued operational capital. Our business is very profitable, but when you grow at this rate and the cost of your infrastructure is as significant as ours is, sometimes the traditional lending environments just don't support that. And the interest that Pat and Greenline have shown in us, I mean, they came to Durango, they spent the day with us, they met the team, they went and toured our testing facilities, and realized that we're at, as we've all seen with Branson going up there and Bezos going up in the coming days, there's a resurgence in space as a place, yeah, and as SpaceX and others really collapse the cost of what it takes to put a payload up there, there's a lot more payloads going up there, and really what we do is provide the propulsion capability for those satellites, for those lunar landers to go to their parking space, to go where they need to go, and this is an industry that's just kicking off now. This is the next tech, revolution and century. And to have the support that we've gotten from local investors is just terrific. As Pat mentioned, we're in the middle of a funding round right now, and I've sort of laid down a rule that we're not going to Sand Hill Road for the money. We're even if it takes a little longer, and even if it means driving 4 hours for a meeting, we're determined to raise this capital from local sources, from community sources, and from folks who really are focused on the kind of reinvestment and the kind of contribution that we're making to the community. So thank you to GCVF and to Greenline for that support.
Great, thank you so much. Kelly, similar question for you. You have also worked with several different investors, including Greater Colorado Venture Fund. How does this next tranche of money get used differently, or are you focused on different things that you're investing in within the company?
Yeah, so similarly to what you mentioned with Agile, we think of them slightly differently. So we have been very lucky to have great support from equity partners throughout the state that have helped us grow. The way that we break it up is really, we think of equity funding as investing in things that give long-term growth and foundations to the company, things like team and website design, infrastructure. And then we use debt as a partner to help with things that move through faster. So in particular, in our case, we're a product-based company, and so in order to grow at the rates that we're growing and continue to double, triple, we have to buy the inventory upfront for that. And so that's what a lot of our debt capital goes towards. Particularly in our case, as you mentioned, at the rate that our companies are both growing, there's not a lot of institutional debt that we fit into. And so having partners that really understand companies that grow at the rate that ours do is invaluable in allowing us to continue to grow and at the rate and the scale that the company is capable of doing.
Cool, thank you. And it is helpful to explain how that money is getting used within your companies. So thank you.
Brian, can I quickly jump in and add one other thing? It's somewhat off topic, but I want to let folks in the audience know that last March, in response to COVID, Greenline, our CDFI, launched a microloan program for businesses that were impacted by COVID. And we have a particular focus now on companies that are in and around Grand Junction. So if there's anyone in the audience that has a company or friends that have companies that have been impacted by COVID, please apply. It's a 0% loan for 6 months and then 2% thereafter for the next 5 years, and it's up to $50,000. Turnaround is 2 to 3 days, and it's been pretty well received, and there's very little in the underwriting. So if anyone's been impacted by COVID adversely, we would love to help out.
Sweet, thank you.
Sorry for the shameless plug, but I thought it might be helpful.
It's a shameless plug that benefits everyone. So. Awesome, thank you so much. One last question for you, Georgia. First off, congratulations on winning. And
Thank you.
So question for you is, your product is specifically for women. And, has it been difficult, or what's it been like to pitch? Do you have to pitch to a bunch of men who don't understand really the difficulties that you all are going through? What's that been like?
Yeah, all the time.
So as you might imagine, the reaction when we pitch to women, there's always the head nod, their eyes light up, their hand shoots up, and they immediately want to share the story of the last time they peed their pants, which we love to hear it. We have quite the compilation at this point. The reaction among men, there's usually 3 ways it goes. So the first is that they also have the head nod, hand shoots up, and they want to share the story of how their daughters or their wife or their girlfriend or their friends have had the exact same pain point in the outdoors, and they've noticed it because they've spent so much time out there with everyone outside. The second reaction is more so, this is a woman's issue, I'm going to stay quiet, not weigh in here, which, by the way, it's not. SheFlies are for people who pee, so that's all of us. And the third reaction is one where I am approached and whoever the guy is, he's like, I want this in my pants now. So at SheFly, we've been really impressed and I think overwhelmed by the amount of support we've seen from everyone, which is really appreciated. And I think one story that illustrates that positive encouragement, in college we did a pitch competition called Road Pitch in Vermont, which has a really interesting setup. It's motorcyclists who drive around from town to town in rural Vermont, and entrepreneurs in each town pitch. And this was college me. I get up on stage and I look out in the audience, and it is a sea of 50-plus guys in leather pants, huge beards. And I'm like, well, I haven't finished my market validation, but I'm pretty sure this is not my target customer. But I go ahead and I give the pitch, and we ended up winning the People's Choice Award and the Investors' Choice Award. And there were probably a handful of people in the audience who I actually intended to be an early adopter of SheFly. So yeah, it's been great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We've got one quick round of questions. So these are questions funders to founders. In 10 words or less, you have to give a few words of advice. And so, so let me restate it. So in 10 words or less, what advice would you give to new founders looking to get noticed or receive funding? Do you want to start first?
Sure. I'll make my answer specific to pre-seed or super early companies, since that's the track that we sponsored. 10 words or less. Show, don't tell. So build a killer demo.
Cool. Thank you. Mark, 10 words or less?
Oh man, at least I get to go second. Be tenacious and foster long-term relationships.
Yeah.
Pat? I'm going to keep it to 2 words. Be honest, in the sense that acknowledge where there may be weaknesses or flaws and how you may mitigate them, but don't try to sugarcoat over, embrace challenges and weaknesses and not try to, gloss over or talk your way through and exaggerate over challenges.
I think what you mean is don't bullshit.
I was going to say, don't bullshit a bullshitter.
That's a much more appropriate way of putting it, but
Awesome. Well, let's give everyone one more big round of applause. Thank you to everyone who made this happen. Thanks to everyone that's tuning in virtually as well. This is an incredibly cumbersome event to put forward. 60 plus events over the week throughout all of Colorado. And so thank you so much for everyone that put so much work to putting this event together. Thank you, Mark and GCVF and all of our funders here for all of your support and continuing to support entrepreneurs in the Western Slope of Colorado. We all have to work together, right? So thank you so much. We are going to have appetizers in the lobby, and then additionally, there's a few more events going on during West Slope Startup Week for the rest of the day. And from 4 to 6, back over at the main location at 750 Main Street, we're going to have a big block party. So I hope you all are ready to have drinks, hang out, get to know each other, and
I think we need to thank Brian and Lexi and Shaw, who really helped make this event happen. So thank you guys. Thanks everybody for being here.
great. Let's go have food and drinks.
Playing with chemistry.